So you are here with Katie and Jen on Get Awesome, another edition of Get Awesome. And today we are really kickstarting with the topic of contentment. And before we get going, and somehow she's on the other side because we're using a different platform to come to you live. So, Katie, take it away, jump on in, and then we'll get the discussion of contentment going.
Okay, actually, on my computer, I'm on the same side I've always been on. So when I look at the screen, I'm on the right-hand side.
So, might have been me flipping the screen.
You must have flipped the screen if I'm now on your
I
left.
must have flipped. I will take all the thing for
That's okay. If you're joining us live, thank you for joining us live. If you're going to watch this on replay, I thank you for watching this on replay. This should be up on Facebook and YouTube. So please, feel free to go back and watch them. Um, Really, I'm so glad you're here. And remember that we're here today to talk to you about contentment.
And we are in 2025.
Right. And who among us are content is or are content? Can you raise your hand? Say, yes,
Yeah,
I am content. Um,
getting there. I'm getting there. I'm still
if
not
you,
100%. Now, where I want, what I thought interesting about this discussion, we could have easily have made it something about happiness or success or all of these other, words people use. We deliberately chose contentment because I think people pursue happiness, people pursue success. But just from my experience and maybe my mature wine state, I think what we're ultimately looking for is contentment. And if I find if we pursue this, you know, very subjective, out of reach thing called happiness, uh, and don't consider contentment as a way to achieve happiness, then I sometimes think we feel like we're running after something that we can't really put substance to. Is that the case for you, or is it just me? And I'm okay if you say it's just you, Jen. But I just feel for all the years that I see people going after this happiness, that is
Mhm.
that elusive thing we pursue. We get happy moments, but
Right.
the happy moments aren't sustainable. And I don't think that they were meant to be. Uh, but to leave a happy moment and come back to contentment, whether it's contentment by yourself, contentment with those around you, contentment with your environment, whatever that is, I find that that is more attainable, more tenable, more, it sits more comfortably to say, I'm in a very contented state at this point in my life, as opposed to, oh, I'm happy, 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 happy. And I'm not sure it's possible.
I'm,
Just my view.
I agree with you. I'm not sure it's possible for everybody to be, happy all the time, every day, every moment. You can have happy moments. You can have happy days, right? You can
Mhm.
probably even have a happy month or a happy week or whatever, but you can't be, I don't think that you can be happy all the time, but you can be content all the time. And most of the definitions that I saw online sort of boiled down to like be at peace with how things are in your life. You are accepting of your situation. So you can be in a crappy situation, but you can still be content because you know the crappy situation isn't going to last forever and that there's a lesson in it for you and that it's just something you're going through right now. Um, so yeah, so like I said, the one definition I had said be at peace with how things are in your life. You're
Mhm.
accepting your situation. Another one was that you are at inner peace with your situation and how the elements in your life are situated. And that was like most of them, right? Most of them were,
I love that concept of inter peace,
inner
because
peace.
you hear about inner peace, hear about inward, but I think you said inter peace, isn't that? What you
I said
say?
inner
Inner
peace.
peace. Oh, okay. Inner peace. I thought you said inner peace because I was like, that's a different way of looking at it.
So your inner
Yeah, and
peace.
and you know what? I think all of these things will always land you back at inner. If you're just dealing with your outer appearance, right? You fix your nose, you fix your eyes, you fix your whatever the hell it is, you're gonna fix your nails, your hair. If you just focus on your outer and we don't actually develop and grow our inner
Mhm.
aspects of us ourselves, I'm not sure you can ever obtain happiness or you can ever attain contentment. So
No,
I agree with the whole inner piece and the fact that I really think it's about how do you say removing internal struggle. So you've got your values straight, you've got your beliefs straight, you've got um, your environment straight, you've got your relationships straight, and you have you straight, right? Like you have connected with yourself and you know what gives you joy, you know what gives you peace. You have your things that you need to do. Like some people will say, I need to do massages, right? I need to have my massages. Some people say, I need to meditate, right? Or Tai Chi or whatever it is that you need to find that space. When you have those things in your life and you've got the lifestyle that really coherently matches with who you are and what you're all about, and you start to move your life to that really integral, authentic space, then I think you're getting extremely close, if not hitting contentment. Absolutely. And when you look to get rid internally of all the noise, of all the drama, of all the emotional baggage, and you look to land on those things and be grateful and do forgiveness and don't hold things in, then I believe you get to a place of contentment.
okay, I agree. I mean, I think that I guess I am content, right? I am, I don't want to use the word happy, but I am content with my life and
And you know what, Katie? You are one of the people that I would have put absolutely said, if somebody said, "Do you know someone who is contented?" You're the first person that would come up on my. It's honestly, it's yourself and my friend Tom.
right,
Those are the two that I would call out immediately and say, "Yeah, I know two people that have reached a certain level of contentment in their lives."
well, one of the websites I looked at said a contented person is more calm,
Hmm.
right? I have very little stress in my life. I don't, I work on not letting things stress me out, but I don't really have anything that could stress me out, really. I am who I am, right?
Hmm.
And my life is what my life is. But you're more calm, you're more present tense oriented,
Hmm.
and you have less desire to acquire things.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because the people that focus on the outer and focus on fixing their nose, fixing
Hmm.
their eyes, doing this, doing that to their bodies, getting lipo, I mean, okay, look, you do you, right?
Exactly. There's no judgment. I'm not.
But if
You do
that's your own,
whatever you wish to do. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to think. But what I'm curious is if you were asked the question, are you contented or are you happy? What the answer would be. I've just
right,
found in my experience that a lot of times the people that look like they're contented or look like they're happy, if you actually ask them the direct question, you're very surprised by the answer you've gotten. And it's only because that has been my experience. I asked a good friend years ago, are you happy? And I was shocked by the answer because if by every outward facing thing, they looked very happy. But when I asked the direct question, I got a direct response back, and the answer was no. And it was very, surprising to me. So I have learned that not all outer is truly reflective of what's going on internally. And
Right.
so I look more for the internal showing of contentment and happiness than the external, because I consider all those things happy moments now.
Right. Right. Well, another thing said a core value of contentment is respecting the reality of the present.
Hmm.
That you've got to really, you have to, I mean, it's like Ula says, right? You've got to be grateful every day and be grateful for the good and the bad because there are lessons to be learned through both of them, especially the bad. There's always a lesson to be learned, right? And if
Absolutely.
you keep cycling back into the bad again, you're not learning the lesson. You've got to ask yourself, what is the lesson here I'm supposed to be learning, right?
Hmm.
And then integrate that lesson into your inner being. And then you can move on and then you can be content, right? Um, yeah,
Well,
this
the
happened.
funny thing is the other day I heard that this, and I thought this was an interesting thing. And of course, in my typical fashion, I reflected on it. And they said life, and we know that life is full of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. So if you were to look at your life, it'd be like that. Just peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. You're down, you're in a setback, you're in a good time, a good space in your life. You're in a setback, they say what measures getting to that, just that wonderful state of what we at least what I perceive to be contentment is
Mhm.
how quickly. So when you're younger, you go down into a dip, you stay in a dip for a while, and then you come up. You go down. As you get older and wisdom starts to go in, and you work on yourself and you grow yourself, and you address some of the things that the experiences you've had to let go of everything you talked about, what should then happen is that you are recovering quicker. So now when you hit a setback, you're able to recover quicker. So what was before a dip, right, would now become like a just a little bump. And so
Right,
what happens is the line starts to get a little bit more wavy than dippy.
right,
And so that line becoming just a little bit more wavy, and eventually if you reach true neutrality, it would become straight, right? Might just have a little bit of a flutter, but it would be pretty much straight because now you just recover. You don't let nothing really phases you. So I thought that was an interesting visual to look at, kind of where you move from in your younger days to where you move from in your mature years, and just how you are able to look at life. And when kids come to you and they tell you, "Oh, my life is blowing up," you're kind of sitting there and going, "Ha ha ha ha, my child."
let me explain
Rather.
something to you. Right,
So
I
the
mean,
wisdom comes out, right?
contentment is a way of being, right?
Exactly.
And any of us can be content and can stay content um, no matter what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Because we know we will recover, we know we will bounce back. This is just something that's happening right now. I'm okay with it. I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to grow from it, um, but I'm content, right?
Yeah. And
I am.
and the whole point of our discussion is to literally let people know that just change your perspective that little bit, and say, instead of I want happiness, I'm pursuing just think about, what if I switched it and pursued contentment instead? What
Right,
would I do? How would it change the things I do? How would it change the way I react? Because it really is just a different perspective. Because that's what I'm pursuing. I can tell everybody what I'm pursuing is contentment. I'm not pursuing happiness. Happiness. I will enjoy the happy moments. Being here with you, I'm happy. But too, when we this show ends and you go your way and I go my way, both of us are very content because we'll probably pick up a book or we'll watch a show or whatever we'll do. Happy and
right.
content in that space. So I don't need to be hanging on Katie 24/7. Oh, I don't want to leave yet. But you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I am fine saying, "Okay, Katie, see you when I see you." And we both walk away and we still love each other. We still care about each other. but it's not this, oh, I need to talk. Call me when you hang up.
Right.
And you know, I'm being real here. And
Right,
Katie knows
right.
I love the ground she walks on, but I don't need to be under her neck every time. I'm very contented when we leave. I'm like, I got stuff to do. I'm gone.
Right, right.
And I find that's what contentment is that you just enjoy when you come together, you enjoy different environments, you enjoy sometimes I can be so happy and contented just sitting down, people watching.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
judging, just sitting down and watching, kids screaming at their parents, or if mother holding the child like a bag. I have enjoyment in just watching those sort of things. So I just want to trigger the audience to kind of look and go, what do you find amazing about these things, right? What really triggers you? And if you have a massive emotional something about moving away from a happy moment or switching gears, stop and think about, what is that telling you? What does it mean? And then look at what you're pursuing, right? I
Right.
just think that it's those sort of things. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
No, I think you're
You
right.
jump in, Katie. Don't mind me.
If you're pursuing happiness, that's okay. But okay, here goes. I think you need to be content before you can be happy.
Absolutely, because that's what we the
You
sustaining
know?
piece is contentment. The sustaining piece is not the happy.
Right. I mean, I think that,
Sustaining piece is not the happy. The sustaining piece is the contentment.
right.
That's what's sustainable.
So I think you need to stop worrying about pursuing happiness and focus on pursuing contentment. Focus on finding an inner peace with yourself and with what's happening in your life, right? Whether it's good or bad, right? The bad
Mhm.
won't be there forever. The good won't be there forever. Like she said, your life is going to be a series of ups and downs. And the younger you are, probably the deeper the downs will be. And then it'll take you a while to refocus and come back up. As you
Mhm.
get older, like she said, you know, it sort of starts to even out and you will have like little dips, right? But there are lessons in those little dips, right?
Oh yeah, it's because you can recover quicker. You have the experience. You know yourself well enough now that you can, like, they're not first experiences many times, right? Like when you meet someone that's been divorced 3 times or remarried 3 times, there's no way any of them can tell me that the way they were impacted by the first breakup of their marriage is the same way they're impacted by the third.
Right.
By I presume somebody can, by all means, drop a comment and tell me. But I would think by the third, fourth time that you have gone through a divorce or marriage again, it's just like,
Right.
let's go. The
Hey,
recovery, exactly. The
I'm
recovery
done.
is easier, right? We have all our hits in our younger days when they're first experiences. And it's just like kids. I have four, and I can tell you the way I looked at the first versus the third, second, and the third could eat off the floor for all I know, because I wasn't that, oh my God, she's gonna die.
Right. Right. Right.
You realize that they'll be fine.
I mean, you've seen that commercial about the mom with the first baby, and she's all, "Don't touch him, don't touch him, germs and all this stuff." And then by the fourth baby, she's at the mechanics and she's picking up her car, and she gives the mechanic her baby to hold while she's writing out the check for the bill. And the mechanics, oily hands and all this, like holding the baby like this, and the baby's just like sort of hanging there looking around, right? The mother doesn't care by the time she's on her like third or
It's
fourth
not
child.
so let me correct that. It's not that they don't care. It's
But,
because they've realized that the child isn't like a China doll. They're resilient, and they're gonna be okay. Right? The only thing they don't want is for them to, stuff something in their mouth that's gonna choke them or something like
right.
that. But beyond that, they're not gonna die of germs. They're not gonna.
The mother's content in what she's
Yes,
doing. because she
Like
knows.
you become like you now know how to get through all of these things. So it becomes easier. And I find that that's why sometimes the younger children are more resilient sometimes than the older children because they've been becuddled that from when they were their first baby. Absolutely. But I remember when my aunt told me that, and I didn't know what she was talking about with my first. And then I realized by the time you had, it's like, okay, whatever,
Right. Go ahead, stick your
you
finger in
know.
that pocket.
So that's how we approach life. And I just think that if we can really truly understand that our life is experiential, and so they're just experiences, you learn from the experiences. You revel in the good times, and you should be able to just go back to neutral's place and still be contented doing your daily routine, doing meeting the people you see on a day-to-day basis, and you treasure the ones that you don't all see every day, that when you come together, we can treasure each other, but also just as contented to go away. And for like long friendships, you don't have to talk to them every day. Remember, as a teenager, you'll be on the phone. Oh, I'm gonna call you. They're at school all day. Then you say, I'll call you when I get home. And then you go and see them. And you're constantly in their presence. But by the
Right,
time you get a longtime girlfriend, you don't have to talk to them every day. You might talk to
right,
them once a month or once every 3 months. But man, it's like time just drops away when you talk with them.
right. I mean, I have my best friends in Florida, and we talk probably, like you said, every 3 or 4 months we talk. And, it's like no time has
Yeah,
passed,
exactly. It just
you know?
falls away. You catch up, you have good laughs, wonderful conversation. They're probably one of the few people you can stay on the phone really long with and don't feel the time. And then it's gone and see you. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. You don't even make a commitment to when you're going to talk. You just say, I'll talk to you when I talk to you, because at that point you'll just catch up again. So I think the whole thing is very if you put it in the right perspective, I think you can approach it in a pretty, joyful, humorous way and enjoy the journey, because that's what it is, an experience, right? It's an
It's
experiential
a
journey.
journey.
Enjoy the journey. And if you find there's discontent in your life, don't push it aside. Literally take it and look at it starkly and say, why is there discontent, and how can I make it or take it to a point of contentment? So it's because that's when people then start to settle. If there's discontentment and they're not dealing with it, that's when they start to settle. And they definitely would have some, how would I say, ups and downs. They're creating ups and downs in their life, right? So
So
just deal with all of those pieces as they happen, rectify them, and then strive for contentment. That's my view.
one of the websites I went to talked about what kills contentment, and it was entitlement, grumbling, comparison.
Comparison. Ah, I love that one. Comparison. That's true.
Well, they always, who was it that
Because
said
you're
compare?
going into the one of the deadly sins, envy.
Well, right, and some of them did say envy. And who is it who said comparison is the thief of joy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
If you're comparing yourself to somebody, you're not going to be content with your life
Or
because,
comparing yourself what you have to what other people have,
right?
right? That's
And
that's like
I
picking up with the
have that.
Joneses. Yeah.
I have that too, because all of those things are stopping you from having inner peace. They're stopping
Hmm.
you from being present focus, stopping you from um, I keep wanting to say happy,
No,
stopping you
I will actually say it
or
this way.
content with
Hmm.
what you do have, which is
Because it
really
introduced lack into into your within your visor, right? Like it suggests that you lack something. And once you get into that spin, I can see how it's robbing you. It's literally ebbing your energy,
right,
um, that you would have with contentment and happiness. It's taking that away. And all of a sudden, your energy starts to crash because you're now thinking you lack something.
Right.
And
Well,
the only
another,
thing that regroups on that, which you and I do very well, is gratitude,
right. Well,
right?
another website I said lack of contentment is being not fulfilled or unsatisfied with the things you have possessed. And that goes back to a sense of entitlement, a sense of comparison, a sense of grumbling that
Mhm.
she's got that, why don't I have that? And no, 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 no. You don't need to go there, really. You don't.
Mhm.
Um, you need to stay present focused. Um, and of course, work for things you want, right?
Mhm.
We're not saying just sit back and be content with what you have and don't ever strive. No, no, no. We should all be striving for something, and we should all be, you know, we should all have dreams of things we
Mhm.
want and places we want to go, people we want to meet, and all of that stuff. But to do that, you have to be content with where you are, right?
Absolutely. I think the analogy that comes to mind when I think about um, that aspect of things is the great thing about track and field is when you ran, one of the things you had to be that you got to learn really well, so as not to be disqualified, is to stay in your own lane.
Hmm.
And you ran, I don't care how fast you ran, how many people was on that track, you stayed in your own lane. And I think it's something like that where don't compare what somebody has or how fast they run or anything like that because you run in your lane and be grateful for what is there in your lane and don't worry about what other people have because one, I know you don't know how they got them. You don't like it's such a waste of energy. That's what I consider it. A complete waste of energy worrying about how you compare to other people. And
Right,
don't get me wrong, I know society will ebb some of this stuff into your little psyche. But once you recognize that's what you're doing, then you get it, you clean it out of your space, right? Just clean it out because it's not healthy. It's not taking you down the wrong track. The biggest thing is what you said. It crashes your energy. It lowers your frequency. And all of a sudden you start to think negatively. That's basically what it's introducing in your thought pattern is negative thought pattern. And if you let that grow, that can really dominate real quick. So you
oh yeah,
have to have ways to avoid that. So I try not to compare to it. I don't care what people, I'd like to, and I don't care. In the larger scheme of things, I don't really care what other people have. I know what I'm striving for myself and stay in that lane and strive, 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 strive until you hit all the different achievement and milestones that you need to hit.
right. You just have to be content with who you are, what you have,
Mhm.
where you're going, and all of that stuff. And contentment's available to all of us, much more than happiness. I mean, happiness is great, right? Who doesn't love to be happy, right? We all do.
Absolutely. And we got to laugh, you got to exhibit some of that with laughter and joy in your everyday. Because I always say if you don't laugh in any day, right? Like it takes you 5 days before you laugh. Oh my goodness. What is I I'm just gonna say I don't quite get that, or I think so, you need to assess your life if that's the case. If you find you're going days without laughter, stop. As I always say, pause, please, and assess what's going on there. Because that, like, laughter is joy and youth and all sorts of things. You need that. So
Right,
it's not that you don't need the laughter and the happiness, but you need to have all beneath all of that, this stable, sustainable thing going on that really is your platform to land on when you're not in that high of laughter, when you're not in that high of happy moments, then you need that platform to land on. And to me, that is contentment. And if you're discontented when you're leaving a gathering or when you're leaving from doing something, then again, you need to pause and reflect on why that is and clean up those pieces of your life. So
absolutely.
it's yeah. I mean we make life as hard as or as easy as we want. At the end of the day, the life we lead is the life we have crafted for ourselves or co-created for ourselves. So we get to make some of those decisions. And even, I've started my 2025 articles, and I'm talking about these types of things. Like, you know, we introduce some of these things into our life and then we complain.
Well,
And
right,
then
right.
and I keep saying,
We
like,
bring them
don't introduce
on
it.
ourselves. We bring them
Yeah.
on ourselves, and then we don't understand why we're not happy or why we're not filled with joy or why we're not content with our lives. Well, because you
Or we accumulate. We just keep
right,
accumulating and consuming things, and those things aren't necessarily delivering happiness. And the bigger question is, are they even delivering contentment?
right.
Forget
And if
about happiness, because obviously, if I got brand new expensive shoes, you'd be happy, but happy for how long, right? But
right,
are these things delivering contentment? And I think travel. I'd like to talk about travel because travel is an amazing thing. Um, because when you go to different countries, like for example, I had gone to Dominican Republic, and as beautiful as Dominican Republic is for tourists and just enjoying the sights and going in the amber store, I love amber, so to go in the jewelry store and see amber in abundance and stuff is really nice. But when you go into what we call the shanty towns, and you see that they have contentment and they have so much less than we do.
all right. It's life is not about things.
No, and they're laughing and they're contented. Of course, do they need things? Yes, but the lack of not having those things does not
Define
destroy
them.
their ability to laugh and just be contented. And I find that amazing because then when we go in, where we have everything around us and we're complaining.
Oh, well, yeah, we're complaining, we're
Miserable, and
grumbling,
you
we're
want this
griping,
person
we're
to have each three shirts. So they know that they can wear one Monday. They know they can wear one Tuesday. They know they have to wash Mondays to be able to get one for Thursday. Like it's just a simple, simple life, but they don't even realize should I be complaining that I only have three shirts? No, they only have three shirts. I just find traveling and seeing those types of disparity really puts things in context for us. It's another wonderful way to put things in context and to understand how much abundance many of us have and are still unhappy.
still griping, still complaining, still not being content with what they have, wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. So,
Complain.
if
And for
that's
me, the bigger
you,
thing is complaining, 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 right?
right,
And and that to me, and I'm not saying don't get anything. I want it to be abundantly clear. Katie and I are not saying don't buy stuff. You got
no,
to do
I'll
live
buy
your
stuff
life.
all
But at the end of the day, and you have a lot, and life still isn't feeding up for you what you think or where it should go, then again, I'm gonna be. You're gonna say, "Oh my God, Jen's always saying this." Pause.
the time. Right?
Pause.
Pause, rethink, renew.
Rethink. Journal. Reflect. And just say, where are the pieces that I am not, or I don't want to see, or I don't want to deal with, that I need to deal with to course correct and take my life in a different direction? What decisions am I? Well, you're always making a decision. So, what different decisions should I be making? Because even
Right.
if you discard it or deprioritize it, it's still a decision. So, what are the decisions that need to change that I've been making?
And I think, part of that also includes looking at why do I think I need this? Why do I want this? What's
Exactly.
behind all of this? Is it
Is it a
because,
necessity or is it just, yeah?
right? Is it because, my best friend has it, or
Mm.
I go to the gym and I see all these people with it, or is it, that I go to church and I see people, who have what I want. And okay, but so why do you want it? Right? Is it really necessary for me to be content? If I have that, will I be content?
Yeah,
Right? And if that's the case, that you really trust and
mhm,
believe that you need that to be content, then how are you gonna work out getting it, right? What are you
exactly.
what are your goals? What are your plans? What are your steps to get whatever it is that you think you need to have
Hmm.
after you've done, the looking at it about and thinking about and asking yourself, why do I want this? Um,
Exactly.
I really need this to be content, or can I be content without it? Right? So if you are not content, you need to ask yourself why you're not content.
Hmm.
What do I need to be content? What do I truly need? Right? Do you truly need another pair of shoes? No. Mm-mm. It's nice to have another pair of shoes,
Yeah.
right? All of us would like to have other pairs of shoes that you wear. I mean, I wear my shoes until they're like giving up the ghost. And then I go get them repaired and then I continue to wear them because I like them so much.
Hmm.
Um, but, I can't tell you the last time I went clothes shopping. I can't tell you, the last time well, I can't tell you that because it was Tuesday. It was Monday. Um, I was going to say I can't tell you the last time I went shopping, but it was actually this past Monday,
Hmm.
not no Monday before last,
Right.
because
So 2 weeks.
I
So
had
yeah.
a friend come and stay with me, and that's what we do when she comes. But now she hasn't been to see me in about a year. She was
Hmm.
one of my college roommates, and she lives over in Atlanta, so she's about an hour and a half away from me. So she'll come and she'll stay here, and we do shopping, we do talking, we do laughing, we do eating. We do a lot of eating. Um, but other than that, I can't tell you the last time I went shopping. I mean,
Yeah.
I might take a spin through TJ Maxx or something, but I don't necessarily buy something every time I'm there. Sometimes I just go to see what they have, and then I
And browse and have, but that
right,
that that that
and
that actually
leave.
brings in another aspect of things because you know, while we're saying contentment and having a lot of things, there's also the side of which and you have it in Ula, fun. There's the side of which life is still, as I said, an experience and it's meant to be lived and it's meant to have fun. So if you want to, do your nails, do your eyelashes, and just experiment and play around with those sort of things, that to me is just part of the fun part of our life. That is okay. If you want to buy a snaggy bag, buy all, have fun in your life. So
Right,
I need to realize, make people realize we're not just on one extreme of it. We're saying balance it out, have fun. That's all part of it, getting the experiences and things. Is when you start to tie all of these things that you have as part of your identity and, I am nothing without my eyelashes. I'm nothing without my fancy nails. I'm nothing without whatever. That's when you start to tie your identity and who you are into these material things, that it starts to reap away what would be sometimes your happiness or your contentment, right?
right,
Because if for some reason you can't afford your eyelash update, there's people that would mope, and I know some people with their weaves would not come out unless the weave gets done. Nobody's going to see them. Their coworkers aren't going to see them. Nothing till the weave cuts on. Now that to me is not just having fun and experimenting with hair. That's part of your identity now.
right, right, right,
And so it reaps away at you, reaps away your happiness when you don't look to have that perfect look. So it's things like that just to watch and balance. And if you do the reflection and you said, this is how I'm going to be too bad, that's, I'm certainly not going to complain or judge or anything. I'm going to say, okay, that's you. Go, you do you.
right, right. You do
Right?
you, and I'll do me,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. So we have to always put it into context, and have it the right spin on it to then create a balanced life that hopefully puts you on that more flattened pace,
Right,
and it's bringing you more to that contented net that we talked about, that you fall back on each time. You go up to the high, you come back down. You go up to the high, you come back down. Whether it's an exotic vacation and you come back to your life, you should still come back to a contented life. So, I don't know. That's my that's my take. I think it's an interesting discussion to have as opposed to happiness and success, because I think those two terms are very subjective. My view of success or my view of happiness is going to be different from Katie's, but I think
Yeah.
we are closer in our discussion when we say, "Are you contented?" Because that's an inner peace
Right.
part of you, and
It's an
it's
inner peace
something
with
to align easier on. So
that's that definition I read, an inner peace, at inner peace with your situation and how the elements in your life are situated
nice. I like the element piece.
is
That's a
is
nice description, actually. Yeah.
you know
Hmm.
all right, are we done?
Yeah. I know. Oh, trust Katie. Katie. Okay, that's it. Let's go.
Really, let's go.
Keeps
We've
me
talked
on
about
time. She keeps me
contentment.
on time. So, on that note, give it some thought, some wisdom from Get Awesome again. And we'll be back here next month talking about, I don't know, something.
Oh, and I just looked it up. I think it's achievement.
Nice.
Hang on, let me look.
Would not
Yes,
be.
it is achievement.
So next month we'll be talking about achievement, and that's another doozy. So
I know that's another one that you gotta like work out. And I
exactly.
just lost one of my notebooks under my
So
desk.
there we are in our fourth year of the show. We're doing the things a little differently. We're trying new platforms. Becoming, to be quite frank, a little pain, but we will work it out. We will get there where we need to be. I want to get back to our opening and intro and outro and things of that nature. But until then, uh, Katie, you want to take us out of here in your usual amazing fashion?
Absolutely. It's to be grateful, to have faith, and to go get your ULA life. And ULA is OOLA. Look it up. Go to ulalife.com if you haven't already. Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
and we